Hey, it's Loren Lahav. I am so glad you are here. This podcast is about keeping it real, helping you own your worth, find your voice, and step into your truly badass and beautiful life that you deserve. Every week, I'm bringing you stories, tools, and conversations that inspire, connect, and engage. We're going to laugh, we're going to get real, and we're going to dive into what it really takes for you to live a life that you're proud of, whether it's on stage, in the boardroom, or right at home. So grab your favorite beverage, turn up the volume, and let's dive in because it's your time to own it, live it, and love it. Welcome to the Loren Lahav podcast. And this woman, oh my gosh, you are literally one in a gazillion, Althea. I mean, every time when I was telling my husband I was recording with some of the ladies, he said, please tell me you're going to interview that wonderful woman, Althea. And I'm like, I sure am. Good. I don't even know where to start with you. I mean, just being around you, you just can't help but be happy and want to go tell me more about your adventures. So tell me about what makes you happy.
What makes me happy is when I make other people happy and when I make people laugh. And I don't know that I make people laugh, but they laugh in my presence. And when they do, I'm happy.
Well, you do that very, very well. Tell us a little bit about your amazing life adventures.
Well, in the past 5 years, I've worked with Tony Robbins, and I met Loren Lahav through Tony Robbins Connections, and I did the Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership, and that year I added 6 new countries to my travel. Our adventure trip was to New Zealand, and I said, heck, if I'm going that far, I'm going to Australia too. And before I knew about the adventure trip, I had committed to doing a retreat in Palm Springs, California. So I left home and started out in Los Angeles and went to Palm Springs, did the retreat, and then went back to Los Angeles and flew to Australia after the retreat. And that whole odyssey was a month and a half long.
Wow. But what gets you to say yes to your life? I mean, we were talking about you on the way over and just about all of the careers that you've had, all the businesses that you've started, all the people that you've helped, all the quilts that you've made, and you just keep going. What gets you so excited to keep going and keep living life so fully?
Because I had an experience where during the pandemic, I had an experience where I was the latest set of career was ended with COVID, because I was working as an entertainer on cruise ships, and cruise ships all shut down then. So like everybody else, I said, okay, now I have time to actually make some quilts. So during the COVID lockdown, I made 120 quilts.
What?
Yes, I was a machine. And I'm still 5 years behind. But why do I say yes? Because if I say no to life, I become unhappy. And what had happened was, after 45 years as a database administrator for academic libraries, they bought me out because I was becoming too expensive. And also, I could see through a lot of the nonsense that higher-ups were spewing out, because I had worked in that field for such a long time that you couldn't put anything over on me. So they bought me out. They paid me not to work for a year. And it was like I wasn't ready to retire, but it was clearly the most intelligent thing that I could do at that time. And I looked in my bank account, I crunched the numbers. And I said, man, I've saved up a lot of money. I can live off of my savings for quite a while I figure life out. Well, I haven't figured it out yet. But I knew that I had enough money, and I discovered during that I hardly made a dent in my savings, even though I was living pretty much exclusively off of it by the end of that year, that I knew that I really didn't ever have to work again, but I still wanted to do something. So the opportunity to work on the cruise ships came because I was on a cruise vacation and the entertainers didn't show up. So I ended up doing an improv show on the spot that night, and for a cruise ship company, for the entertainers to flake out is death for their reputation. So I mean, a big company like Royal Caribbean wasn't going to go out of business because one show didn't happen, but because there was a show, even though it wasn't the one it was built, you know, people left happy. And then word got around that I was somebody they could get at the last minute, so I could work.
Or that they could count on you.
They could get me at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because I had just proven that I could improvise a show
right
at the last minute because I had just done it.
Wow.
So I worked for 2 different cruise lines, the Royal Caribbean and Uniworld. And they're very different in their flavor and vibe, but the work I did was roughly the same. And then I was able to see the countries when I wasn't working that the ship went to.
Wow.
Sometimes, but anyway, that was certainly not something that I was seeking out to do at 60 years old.
Right.
So it's kind of unusual that I would have a 10-year cruise ship entertaining career starting at 60.
Wow. Well, it's so interesting. I have so many questions to ask you. The first is, you said, you know, I mean, I run into a lot of people, and most people haven't even started to save. You know, I mean, you think about that mandatory pause, and most people didn't even have an extra $500 put aside when there was an emergency such as that. Have you always been someone who's been smart with their money? And where did that start?
It started in childhood. I did not have the most wonderful childhood environment, and I knew I needed to get out of my parents' house as soon as possible. So they did give us a small allowance. It was like a quarter, and we were supposed to save 10 cents and spend the rest. And I decided, well, I'll save 15 cents and spend the 10 cents. And I didn't tell anybody, but I did that. And, you know, we put it in a piggy bank. Actually, our piggy banks were not piggy banks. They had little guns on them, and you shoot the coins into a target area. And I really loved doing that. And one day the coin wouldn't fit in the bank anymore. And so I said to my dad, well, I can't get any more money in this bank. I can't even force it in. And he said, well, I guess we have to go to the bank and open an account. So we opened like a little passbook account when I think I was around 12 years old. And and putting 15 cents in every week was
compounding, the power of compounding right
it
there,
was
right?
adding up. And so I forgot how much exactly, but I thought it was substantial. So I got the message pretty early on that if you saved money, then you could have more money to spend. And I was determined that I was going to be financially independent by the time I was 15.
Wow.
That I was going to be self-sufficient financially by the time I was 15. But I would have to do something to generate money, because money didn't grow on trees. Even though my parents planted money trees in the backyard, they did not grow dollar bills for some strange reason. So I knew that I had to do something to get money. So I started my first business as an Amway distributor, worked my way up and built it. And by the time I was 16, I had an organization of 350 people.
That's amazing.
And I sold Amway until I was 25, and I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I had my tailoring enterprise going then. So I was sewing custom design clothes for rich people. And between those two things, I put myself through college.
Wow, that is amazing. So what's the biggest lesson you learned from building an organization with Amway? I always love to learn the lessons.
I don't know what I learned other than that the more people I got in my downline, the more money I would make.
Yeah.
And I needed money for college tuition, so I really pounded the pavement.
So you were hungry. You did the work.
Yeah, I pounded the pavement. I had incentive programs for the workers. You know, if they brought so much business, and see, for every person in my organization, I would get money from their sales as well as my own sales, or at least.
So you knew to take care of those people though too, because you were going to get paid.
Yeah,
from them.
and so I knew I had to be sure that they knew the products, they knew how to sell them. And at that time, Amway was just selling soap. They weren't doing all the other stuff that they do now. So, but everybody needs to do their laundry, and everybody needs soap. So I knew it was something that I could sell.
Yeah, that it was needed.
Everybody needed soap, and it was really good soap. And you might pay a little more up front,
right?
But you'd get more loads of laundry out of it, and so it economically worked out. So I had to have that figured out. So they had some brochures and things that you could use to promote the product, but it didn't tell you that, you know, stuff like, if you will get this many loads out of the laundry. And I figured that out. I kept watching laundry for my mother and for other people until I figured out how much a container of Amway how many loads it would make. And then I could tell people that and sell it.
Right. That's amazing. Well, they say, how do you make more money? You add more value. So you added more value by going deeper into not just selling a product, but the value they were going to get from that product as well.
Right. Like the Tide box would give you 20 loads of laundry. You could get 40 loads of laundry with the Amway, and it didn't stink like the Tide did. You know, you didn't have chemicals in your washing machine polluting your clothes and then smell like Tide all week. Amway, you just smelled like you would naturally would. And so you could tell people that, you know, like this soap, you get more loads for the same amount of money.
Is it Grand Rapids? Is that where Amway's from? I think I remember staying at a hotel. Yeah, I was doing an event there once, and I remember that in all of I stayed at the Amway Hotel, and it was great because at the hotel they had the little shampoos and the soaps and in all of the rooms. So it was great. I was like, this is brilliant. Put all this stuff there. And I remember I ended up ordering things just from staying in the rooms. So I'm sure your team loved working with you. What did they say about you as leader?
To be honest, it's so long ago I don't remember, but
I bet you.
but I did.
How did you make them feel? How about that? When
They
people
got richer, and they were happy that they were making money.
Yep.
And there were all kinds of education levels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were people that could barely find their way out of a paper bag to people who were highly educated who just wanted a side hustle.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My mentor, her name's Cheryl Cortese, she says there's only two kinds of people. People who need money and people who want more of it. It's just like what you talked about. And not people laugh when I say need more of it. And it's like, no, they want to do more good in the world. So do I want to make more money? Yes. I want to be able to say yes to more things, more adventures, to donate more money, to do whatever that is. And there are people that need money. So what you just shared that through your example of there were people that couldn't find their way out of a paper bag, they need it. And then the people who, they're like, this just makes sense. These are great products. Why wouldn't I do this? What were you going to say? I can tell you wanted to say something.
I lost it.
That's okay. We can find it. So, but what did you learn from that experience?
From
working with Amway and building an organization?
Well, I learned that you have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
That money is not going to flow from the sky. Opportunities will show up when you need them, but you have to say yes to the things that are going to further you. And sometimes you have to do things that sometimes, and making money is a bottom line thing. You have to have money to survive, at least in Western society.
Yep. I love that. Like you said, we could build the best gym in the world. They could be the best products in the world, but you gotta go to the gym and you gotta lift the weights, right?
Right.
So, and that's what is like. A lot of people just think, oh my gosh, there's opportunities here. Yeah, but you've got to. You've got to do the work. I love that. I love that about you. You did all those quilts. You still got your 5-year waiting list. You got more quilts to do. But let me ask you a question. So I ask everybody this question. And first of all, Althea, I love who you are. You are such an amazing woman. We are so blessed to have you. And I'm really proud of you for breaking through that board today. How did you feel after that?
I felt good. And I've broken many boards at UPWs and leadership academies. And I never had a problem before. But I'd done them on between the two chairs at a higher angle, and so when I hit the board hard and fell backwards because I hit the board so hard, it didn't bother me. But when there was a person holding the board, I said, something would go off in my brain that if you go all the way through, you're going to take the person out. And that happened 5 times. And finally it said, I am not going to do this. And that was when you piped up and said, well, there are other ways to break a board.
Right. Yep.
But you know, I wasn't going to risk taking somebody out.
Yeah.
And I know that the strength, when I put the strength through, even though Tony says it's not about the strength, it's about the breadth and the groundedness and all that, I knew that the strength from me would take you out for sure, and Oscar could get hurt, and I said, I'm just not doing that.
But how beautiful to see the support and all the women who love you so very much.
That was really beautiful. The women telling me how brave I was and loving on me after doing that, because it was somewhat embarrassing, but still I said, I'm glad I didn't take anybody out.
Well, I'm glad you didn't take me out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here today. So that would not be a very good thing. But
No.
you are such an extraordinary woman. What is one thing that you do to stay true to yourself every day?
I be nice and pay attention is my secret sauce.
I love that. Well, you definitely live that. And I know you've got a 5-year waiting list. But if people do want to know more about you, how can they find out? Can they follow you on Facebook? Can they?
Yeah, they can follow me on Facebook. I don't know. Do I have to have a business page for
No, you don't.
No, you can just they can just follow you from your page.
They can follow you on Facebook, which I would highly encourage you to follow Althea. She lives life fully. You go for it. There's no excuses with you. And what is one thing that, if you were to give everybody a homework assignment, what would it be for them? It could be just some advice. It could be a question they ask. It could be...
I would say playful out. Whatever you engage in would be, go for it all the way. No halfway. Yeah. It's go for it all the way. And if there's an adventure that you're dreaming of doing, go on the adventure. When is now a better time?
I love that. I love that. Well, you are a light, my friend, and I cannot wait to be with you more. I'm going to miss you when you go back home, but I'll come see you. So thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, remember to always stay true to the amazing person that you are. Look at all these amazing people I am bringing for you to meet. And Althea, how many languages?
10.
Althea speaks 10 languages. You've traveled to how many countries?
58.
58. So take the adventure, go for it, learn the language, and hang out with awesome people like Althea. Stay true. And that's a wrap on another episode of the Loren Lahav podcast. I hope you're walking away feeling totally inspired, energized, and ready to take on whatever comes your way. If you enjoyed our conversation today, wait till you hear what's coming up next. Speaking of which, mark your calendars because something incredible is happening March the 7th through the 9th. The Own It experience is coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on this transformational event. We're talking breakthrough moments, powerful connections, and tools that you can truly own your journey. Can't wait until then. Here's how you can stay connected. Make sure you subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Just search for the Loren Lahav podcast and don't forget to tap that follow button. For all the behind the scenes goodness and daily inspiration, follow me on Instagram at I am Loren Lahav. And if you're loving what you're hearing, spread the love. Share this episode with a friend who needs to hear this message. Until then, remember your story matters, your voice matters, and you got this. See you on the next episode.